Hey guys, it's me. I am going to be talking about family tonight. Listen, I thought it would be cool if I did a sermon. I know I haven't been preaching too much. I've kind of been distant. But Corey's mom fell and she had surgery and now she's in rehab. So there's just been a lot going on in my life. But I felt really strongly and passionately about this topic specifically. So I wanted to log on and talk to you guys. And then I'll be logging on tomorrow as well to do the Zoom call. So I know I missed last week, but I'll be getting on and being able to do some discussion questions with you guys with that. So kind of be ready to listen, take notes, and be ready to answer some questions tomorrow. So out of all of you guys, who's just feeling completely overwhelmed, super anxious, or just super bored right now? I get it. I'm starting to hit the point where I'm just feeling bored as well. This time in the world can look really overwhelming right now. But what if we chose to choose our perspective on how we see this situation? What if instead of seeing this virus as invasive and ruining our day-to-day lives, what if we looked at the blessings that have come out of it? Listen, I really thought it'd be fitting to talk to you guys about family during this quarantine because let's face it, you guys are spending majority of your time with your family right now. Whether it be, your parents, your siblings, whoever lives with you, you're kind of stuck with them. Like, you don't get your friends, you don't get the escape of school. You have to be home all the time. Hopefully it's been positive, but for some people it might not be positive. So I just want to talk to you guys how to make the most out of this situation, no matter how rough it looks right now. So we're going to start right off the bat with a Bible verse. Paul tells us in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." I'm sure we've heard that verse before, but I feel like it's really important to look back and reflect on that verse during this time. Let me read it again for you guys. "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." What would it look like if we started believing that in our day-to-day lives? I feel really strongly that God's going to use this pandemic for the good of those that love him. That'll look differently for everybody though, so what do you feel like God's going to do in your life specifically during this pandemic? One of your very first challenges is I want to encourage you to sit with God today, tonight, tomorrow morning, at some point before our Zoom call tomorrow, and I want you to ask him specifically what he's going to do for you. Really pray about it, read about it, talk to God, ask him. Just say, God, what are you going to do in my life during this pandemic? So before we continue, let's just pray. God, thank you for these kids that are tuning in to listen to our message tonight about family. God, I pray that even though we're not able to get together as a group, that you're still going to bless each of us in our growth, learning about you and learning about our families. God, open up our hearts and our ears to hear your message today. God, open up the hearts of our family members as well, that they would be able to receive the love and the joy that hopefully will come from their teenagers after this. God, I bless this time of quarantine. I bless the kids, and I pray that you would just use us to be a light in the world right now. In your name, Jesus, amen. If you see me looking back and forth, I've got my sermon on a half of the screen and the video, so don't be weirded out. Okay, so I thought it'd be important to talk to you guys specifically about family. Since we're all home from school, we're all under quarantine, I'm assuming that you guys are spending probably an insane amount of time with your family, probably more than you've ever spent in your life with them, unfortunately. How do you feel about that? As I was writing this, I just thought to myself, I so wish you guys could all be in front of me right now when I asked that question so I could hear the god-awful, truthful teenage answers of that, because you're probably not too happy about it. But I can imagine. Maybe this quarantine's been a positive situation for you and you've really enjoyed being home with your family. But we have to think about some other people who maybe don't have the best home life situation. They might not be enjoying it as much as you are. So how can we really learn how to enjoy our families during this time? Now we're going to look into Colossians chapter 3, verse 20. And it says, "Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord." Dang. That means that following your parents' instruction and their commands is actually biblical. Mind blown. How do you feel about that? So, you have the choice right now. You can either choose to make this quarantine a positive situation, which might entail maybe doing some more dishes or vacuuming, helping out your parents, or you could choose to make it somewhat of a negative situation. Your parents are going to get more frustrated easily because they're stuck at home too. And so it's kind of in your hands right now if you want to help your parents out and just listen and obey their word, or if you want to kind of cause some trouble. And in that verse in Colossians, the reason I brought it up wasn't to be, that mean youth leader of, oh, listen to your parents do the dishes. I brought it up because it actually says, this pleases the Lord. And so that's actually, we've been talking about worship in the last couple of months. Just by listening and obeying your parents' commands, that's pleasing to the Lord. And so that's a form of worship, guys. Like, you don't have to sit down and have a 2-hour-long Bible study to worship God. You can show your parents the love of Jesus simply by listening. Maybe on the first command, maybe second if you're feeling feisty, but you can really help your parents and really share the love of God. So I want to give you guys a little backstory and maybe why I feel so passionate about this topic. Liz and I both felt this way. So growing up, my family was always really big on spending quality time together every night. So it wasn't just, oh, we're sitting on the couch together. Like, it was always really quality time. They were so diligent about not getting wrapped up in the day-to-day routine of, going to school, going to basketball practice, going to softball practice, doing homework, making dinner, doing bedtime. Like, they never got wrapped up in that where they would forget to just sit down and just be with us kids and just enjoy us kids. Every single night we had dinner together, believe it or not, at the dining room table. Even if dinner was just McDonald's, even if it was nothing fancy, we always sat down for a meal together. We always made it a point to do our homework together. Usually it was me and my sister and my dad. We'd sit down and do our homework as a family. And then we'd all sit on the couch and we'd watch a show before bed, no matter what it was. These are some of my very best memories growing up. We didn't do a single thing. My family wasn't big on vacations or, going to the zoo and going to the park. And we stayed home. But my best memories were spent just spending quality time with my family. And now as an adult, as I'm starting to build my own family and I'm starting to figure out what I want my life to look like, I'm realizing that I have an abundance of understanding about the importance of good quality time together. My parents instilled that in me simply by modeling it. I've been taught to cherish the little moments, the little things like helping my grandma make dinner, in 10, 15, 20 years, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. And so now in the moment, I've learned to cherish those moments so I don't miss out. I've learned how to create space for those little moments in my own life. So my life's crazy. You guys probably know. But I've learned over the years, especially from my parents, how to create those good quality moments together. I think times like this in our lives, this quarantine that's going on, I think these are so vital to teach you what your future family will look like. So you guys are teenagers, right now you're thinking about school, your friends, you're not really thinking about your families, but in a few years you're going to be getting married maybe and having a family of your own. And so this time in our lives really can teach us what we want our family to look like one day. We want our kids to be like, just like your parents did 10, 15 years ago, however old you are. So one day, this hopefully sooner rather than later, but one day this virus will simmer down and life is going to return back to normal. So I wanted to share this message not so much to teach you how to spend your quarantine time and how to make good quality of that. It wasn't so much about that, but really how to cherish the moments after the quarantine. Once life goes back to normal, how are we really going to appreciate those around us? So me personally, I don't think it's any kind of coincidence that Mac's last sermon series was all about rest. We learned all about how to press pause in our busy lives and really spend time resting in the Lord. I don't think it's coincidence that, we learned about rest and now we're being forced to implement it. I've really taken this quarantine as a chance to cherish those around me and realize that life's not measured up by what you accomplish in a day, but who you touch. I'm realizing that, I miss the people around me, the people that maybe I did take for granted. Maybe the family dinners, around the table, I thought, oh, well, everybody does that. I'll always do that. Well, now that I can't do it, I'm realizing, like, wow, that was some good quality time with my people. So I really want to encourage you to take this time to really connect with the people around you, your families, your parents, and make memories with them. Your friends are going to come and go. You might have one or two really good ones that stick, but over time, your family is what's going to be there. And you'll realize as you get older that really is true. I thought my dad was crazy when he told me that growing up, but it really is true. I have two really, really, really good friends still from high school, and that's it. I've got my family. I've got my people. So choose to make the memories good. Don't take this special time with your family for granted. This is something that hopefully we'll never have again in our lifetime, but implement these things that you're learning day in and day out. Realize and appreciate what a blessing God is revealing through this mess. So God takes this big mess. He didn't send the virus. I don't want you to think that God gave us this virus to press pause. But God took this virus and this attack, and he said, awesome, I'm going to teach my people how to sit with their families, how to have dinner again, how to do a jigsaw puzzle, how to play a board game, whatever it looks like. Like, take this time. Spend time with your mom. Learn to cook. Spend time with your dad. Learn how to change the oil in your car. Like, little things like that you can't learn from school. Take time right now to learn them, because I wish I could have had a week at home with my mom just to learn how to cook all of my favorite things. Like, those are the things that are irreplaceable. So change your perspective on this. Don't look at it as such a negative situation. Look at the positive. Pray about it. Really see what God's doing. I know for me personally, God's teaching me how to rest. That was something that I've been praying for months about to God. And once this quarantine hit, I said, okay, God, what am I supposed to learn? And I really heard him telling me just to rest. It's time to rest and to just sit back and enjoy your people. It's not time to get all the things done and, make sure that everything's perfect. It's time to just sit and be with your people. So I want to encourage you to look at this time as a blessing. Don't look at it as an inconvenience, and really, really, really appreciate those around you. So that's my talk. If you had any questions, I hope you wrote them down. If you want to text me your questions, feel free, and I will answer them directly. Otherwise, write them down and we'll talk about them. I'll open up some space just for some discussion tomorrow in our Zoom call. So either text them to me directly, Facebook me, whatever you do, save them for tomorrow, and then really spend time with God and really ask, what are you doing during this time? Because I want to talk about that tomorrow. I want to get some personal insights so that I can pray with you guys and follow up with you guys on these things. So before I get off, I just want to say I love you all. I'm excited to actually see you tomorrow. And I hope this message was relevant. Bye, guys.